Alright, so I'm going to go through how to use the conceptual essay or paragraph plan to plan a paragraph and then use that plan to write a paragraph. So we'll start off, we've got our question. And so I'm going to be talking, this is one on Macbeth. What does tragedy teach us about the human condition? Now I know from basically doing my work in class, I've come up with my own thesis, and my thesis is going to be humans are easily deceived. Alright, nice and simple, but it applies, it's pretty clear if you know the play that that's one of the ideas that we can draw from the text. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to get my keywords. So you'll notice that I'm going to use some colour coding. I'm going to use green for my question keyword. And so my question keyword or key phrase is going to be the human condition. Alright, so I can put that here. And my thesis keyword, which is going to be in red, is deceived. Now, generally what we want a concept. So a concept is an abstract noun. So I need to turn that into an abstract noun, so which is pretty easy because I can turn that into deception. Alright, so I've now got my question keyword and I've got my thesis keyword. So the next thing I need to have is my concept for the particular paragraph that I'm going to do. Now in this paragraph, we could do the concept of power. And I'm going to use blue for that. Alright, so then we do our concept statement, and we can keep it really simple at this point because this is our plan, okay? And our plan just needs to be simple. It's just getting our ideas and organising them. So concept statement, maybe I want to do some brainstorming, do half a dozen concept statements and choose the best one, for example. So I've got but before I even get to that, I'm going to write them down. So I've got my question keyword, okay, which is human condition, plus my concept keyword, or my concept, which is power. Alright, so now obviously then I need to have a verb, but I can do that in my concept statement equation. So maybe over here, let's just do some examples of that. Alright, so maybe I'm going to have human condition, power. Power shapes the human condition. The human condition is characterized by power. Now I'm going, that's not a very good one because I haven't really used a very strong verb there. I've just used is. So I might want to change that and go power
corrupts or changes.
Power characterizes the human condition. Right, so you can see how that I've gone. Well, I haven't chosen a great one, but I can actually improve that in turning it into a verb there. So I've got a few there. I've got human condition, power. I can go power. Okay, corrupts the human condition might say power limits. So remember, in this process, we're just throwing things out there. We're just playing around with it. Human condition. I could flip it around. The human condition limits power. Then I could say, and I could keep going on like that. So normally I will do a whole list of them. All right, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to choose the one that makes the most sense in terms of what I know about this text. And so I know in this text, if I go through these individually, all right, so power shapes the human condition. I can make that work, but it's not one that really jumps out to me as being a really strong one. Likewise, the power characterises the human condition. If I wanted to use that, I could, but I might need to modify it a little bit, okay? Because I might say the desire for power characterises the human condition. That will make a bit more sense. Power corrupts the human condition. Well, power doesn't really corrupt the human condition because it's part of the human condition. Power limits the human condition. Likewise, you're still human, even if you want power or not. The human condition limits power. That one actually does make a little bit of sense because it's our human condition, which is our weaknesses, that limit our ability to achieve power. Right, so I could use either this one here, or I could play around with this one here. Now I'm going to go with this one here because it's the simplest one for the moment, and basically that's what I want to be working on at the moment, just going with the simple. So I'm going to go, so I've got my question keyword plus my concept, so, and I've done it in that order, so I can easily go the human condition limits power. Alright, so I've now got my concept statement. So the next thing I need to do is I need to actually think about the techniques or the examples that I'm going to use for this one. So ideally what I've done is beforehand I've gone through and I've analysed the text and I've found lots of examples of really great quotes with techniques and I've practiced analysing them. So I'm going to have a whole list and some tables in my workbook, okay, which is what I've done before. And so I'm going to choose the best of those that make the most sense for this statement. All right, now for this statement, one that I'm thinking could work is a quote very early on in the play where Duncan is riding up to the castle with Lady Macbeth and he thinks that she's really nice, which is obviously a bit of a foolish thing to think, and he says, "This castle hath a pleasant seat." All right, and we know that there's a little bit of foreshadowing there, we know there's a bit of irony there, all of these things basically because he doesn't know that she's planning to kill him. All right, so what we see there is that basically his weakness, okay, his human condition, which is a weakness, okay, limits his power. He's the king. He's supposed to be able to know these things. He's putting himself into a situation where he is weak. So we're going, yeah, that one works. All right, so I've got multiple techniques that I can use. So I might go with, let's go with dramatic irony. Okay, because that's the one that's most relevant to this text type or type of text or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go put in my example. This castle hath a pleasant seat. Alright, and I've also got my technique. I said dramatic irony. Alright, and then I've got to do my analysis and my evaluation. So in the analysis, I could even actually add in another technique here. So I might do it like this, plus, let's say, emotive language. Alright, and I'm talking here about the pleasant. Alright, so I'm going to say in my analysis, the emotive word pleasant shows that Duncan is deceived. Okay. Now at this point, I don't have to put the word dramatic irony in there because I know that that's what it's all about. I also don't have to worry too much about getting my concepts in there because the concept comes in more in your evaluation. Okay, so I'm thinking in my evaluation, I'm thinking about, well, what does Shakespeare try to demonstrate to us in this example? Well, he's trying to demonstrate that even the most powerful can be deceived. Pretty simple. Alright, so now I'm going to go on to my second technique, and again I've gone through and I've done all my planning, and my second technique I'm thinking going through all my plans, all my tables, I'm going to do one about Lady Macbeth. I think that would work well here because I know that this previous example is from Lady Macbeth as well. It's when Duncan is talking to Lady Macbeth, so it might be nice if we use one that shows that Lady Macbeth is a little bit deceptive. Okay, so there's the point in the play where she says, well, I'm going to make sure that Macbeth goes through with this, so I need to make sure that I'm really strong, so I need to make sure that I'm more like a man than a woman, which is obviously very sexist, but that was Shakespeare. So what she does is she calls on evil spirits and gets them to take my blood for gall. Alright, so that's quite a nice little quote there. Take my blood for gall. Alright, and my technique there, I've got symbolism, because blood. Okay, so we could talk about the symbolism of the blood and the symbolism of the gall. So, my analysis, the symbol of the blood, okay, so blood, which represents life, is replaced by gall, which in this case represents what we might call something like poison. Okay, because it's kind of this idea that it's all the bad feelings coming out of her, and she's taking all of the life, all of the good things, and replacing them with evil things to make sure that she can do the deed. So we're now talking about this. So that's my analysis, now my evaluation. So I need to say, what is Shakespeare trying to demonstrate here? He's trying to demonstrate that Lady Macbeth is able to transform herself in order to deceive others. Okay, and commit evil deeds. Alright, making sense?
So when you've used deception,
Mm-hmm.
that's a link back to the thesis concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not necessarily explicit, but because I know my thesis really well, it keeps coming into my mind, so I keep automatically going back to that. Alright, so then I've just got to get my link. So again, a link is just another, we do the concept statement thing again, so we're going to have, but this time we do it with our thesis keyword. And you'll see that because I've chosen appropriate examples, as opposed to just choosing the first ones that come in my list, this is starting to flow really nicely. It's all just coming together. So I've got concept, thesis keyword. Okay, which is deception. And then I can turn it into my concept statement. So likewise, again, I can just play around with a few examples here. I can go, all right, so power drives deception. Deception creates power. Deception undermines power. Now we take our word from up there. Deception characterizes power. Or power encourages. Right, so again, I've played around with a few examples and I'm going to now choose the best one, the one that I think I'm going to be able to work with. And so I go back, I look over all of this and I go, all right, so from the examples that I've chosen, I think this one I think could work. Right, because I'm thinking, well, power encourages deception. Really, what's happening in the first example is Duncan, okay, who is powerful, okay, his power, in a sense, encourages Lady Macbeth to be deceptive if she wants to get power over him. Okay, so power in that sense encourages deception because if you want to overcome power, maybe it's suggesting that you need to be deceptive. Going through those, deception characterizes power. Well, yes, but I'm like, not always, and I don't think that's the main focus of these examples. Power drives deception. I think that could work because it's really Lady Macbeth's desire for power that drives her deception, and that would work for both examples there, I think. Deception creates power. I think that is possible, that would work too. Okay. Deception undermines power. I think that works for the first one, but maybe not so much the second one. So of those, I've now got 3 that I could work with. And again, I might choose, so in this case I might choose power drives deception. Okay, and mainly just because it's in the same order as this. It doesn't have to be in the same order as this. In fact, this one would equally work, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use that one. Okay, so I've got power drives and deception. Okay, so now I've got my plan. The next thing I need to do is take that plan and turn it into a paragraph. Now, when I do this, I generally do this in a couple of steps. The first step is I take all of these parts and I really literally just stick them together, turn them into full sentences, and so it makes a really basic, simple paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off some of this board and then I'm going to go through and actually write up this paragraph using those, using the parts that I've already got.